What is up, guys? Jared Spalding here, and today I am going to be discussing how you, as a teenager, especially a natural teenager, can build a big bench. Now, obviously, I always try to say this, I am not by any means the strongest person in the world, not even the strongest teenager in the world by any means. Currently, my best bench is 350 at 220 body weight at 16 years old, so not even quite a state record for the high school. I think in my state the high school record is 358, and of course that's in a competition, mind you, as well as paused. So it's a bit of a different thing, whereas I did mine in the gym and touch and go, so it's not even quite the same. But I do think I know a little bit about it, and I, just like many of you guys watching most likely, don't have the most time to dedicate to powerlifting. I have other responsibilities. I have school, and I am, in multiple honors classes. Next year, going to be taking AP, all that good stuff. So, point being, I have to do a lot of homework each night. I have other responsibilities as well. So, I can't devote everything to powerlifting. I can't devote a bunch of time, a bunch of anything, honestly, because as a 16-year-old, I rely on other people, my parents, specifically my mom, to be able to help me get a lot of the stuff I have, and even like this equipment, I didn't obviously buy all of myself. I bought some plates, but it's expensive. So I obviously know the struggle of being a young powerlifter, just trying to get into it, because it's not the most popular thing in the world. So you don't necessarily know too many other people, like friends you have who are into it, like football or something like that. So therefore, it's kind of hard to find people who can really help you out. But I really want to be able to help you in this video. That is my goal. And with that being said, sorry about the long, drawn-out intro. Let's just get right into this. So I'm going to kind of cover all the different aspects of it. Let's start with training. That's obviously the most important thing, okay? Now, when I mean training, I mean both in the weight room as well as what you do after you train, I should say. So it's just the whole aspect of lifting and recovery and everything in that realm. Lifting itself, don't think that just because you're young, just because even your weights aren't that crazy, that you can't get injured. That's the really big thing, is mentality. You definitely have to remember that no matter what amount of weight you're lifting, it deserves to be respected. Even if your max is 135, I don't care. When you max out on an exercise, there's risk of injury. That is just simply it. Even when you're not maxing out, even if you're doing a weight that's light for you, there's still risk of injury if something goes wrong, or if an injury already presented itself and gets worsened by going really, just when you're going light. And maxing out especially is going to be a big risk. So don't take it as a joke, just because you're just getting into it. You need to respect what you're doing, respect the exercise, respect the weights, and respect yourself enough to understand that you can get injured, and you don't want, as a teenager especially, to have a career-ending injury, if you are becoming a really strong lifter. That is just, that's what can happen. And with any weight you can get injured, but with a heavier weight especially, a career-ending injury is very, very possible. So don't think that just because you're young, just because you recover faster, that you shouldn't be smart about your training. Don't do too much training. I made that mistake in the past. I would train too many times a week. Really, just you need to have a really heavy, powerful main day, and then have a second day where you go lighter and do maybe some speed work, some isometric work, something in that realm. Something that's not going to be like a very fatiguing exercise for the chest. Do stuff that's going to be lighter, stuff that's going to be easier, just stuff that kind of works the muscles, but it's almost like a deload in a sense. You can't train all the time. I know as a younger person you recover faster, but that doesn't really mean that you can't get injured. Just because you don't feel sore doesn't mean that something isn't presenting itself. If you don't feel it, then that's actually worse than if you do. Because at least if you feel soreness, then you need to go later. You need to stop, whatever it is. So just remember that in anything, really, any sport, you need to respect what you're doing. And weight training is definitely no exception. It is a very dangerous sport when you get to the top level, and that is just simply that. So beyond that, also, just make sure you're getting enough sleep. Obviously, it can be very tough with school. I know I've missed sleep many times because of not doing homework, but that's a whole nother discussion. Basically, though, just make sure you don't put off assignments you have, because I know that School itself takes up a lot of time, 5 days a week, maybe 7 hours a day. I think that's about what I have to go for. And I have to wake up, around 6 a.m. or maybe even a little bit earlier. So, yeah, I understand that. But you got to make sure that you're going to bed at a really reasonable time if you expect major growth. And that's another thing is just don't expect stuff to come to you super quickly. If you're not progressing really quickly, then don't freak out. And also don't expect that you can go to the weight room once a week total, your school weight room, whatever, because you're a football player or whatever, sports player, and then be upset when doing 15 sets of bench with terrible form while taking 10 minutes between sets to talk to your friends, and then doing like quarter squats, all that stuff. Don't expect that to get you huge. Don't expect that to get you strong, because it's not going to. Don't be an ego lifter. Don't lift for your friends. Lift for yourself, because at the end of the day, the only person that you can truly be better than is yourself. So, that kind of covers that all. Just make sure you're also getting all your nutritional needs. If you don't like eating, vegetables and fruits, maybe make smoothies. That's what I do. It's helped me greatly. And I even put my pre-workout in my smoothie. I have all kinds of different fruits and vegetables. If you're interested, I could talk about it in a future video. But also try to get as much of your protein, as much of your carbs, as much of your vitamins, everything that you feel as though you need for your workout, depending on what your goal is at that point, whether it's to cut or to bulk. Make sure you get as much as you can through foods. Don't come to rely on supplements. They can be an important part of your diet, but they shouldn't be the only part of your diet. Try to get as much as you can through foods. That is going to help you greatly. Now, let's move beyond that realm, just like balancing things. I kind of mentioned that, but overall, like I said, just don't let homework pile up. That is really what's going to get you in terms of school, because I assume most of you as teenagers are in school, as I am. Also, the sleep thing, overall is just going to be really important, but don't use powerlifting as an excuse to get bad grades, because that's really no excuse in my opinion. You need to still work hard in school. You need to make sure you have your priorities straight. Like, I am very devoted to powerlifting. I do it every single day. Except for I take one day off. I take Sunday off. That's just to really let my body rest. So I do it 6 days a week though. And it's like when I get home from school, I go and I eat. I have my smoothie, and I get ready for the workout. And I might get home at, I get home at like 3, and I might not start working out for another little bit because my food, it takes a while to make. And then I have to eat the food. I try to be, responsible in that I eat the food relatively slowly before workout, so I don't, cramp up during it. And then during the, the workout, you might be talking about an hour, maybe 2 hours on my, most extra, or like days with the most exercises, I should say. And then, after that, I have to do homework. But that is just what you have to do if you want to get serious results. You have to do, the work for both school and for powerlifting. It's going to be time consuming, yes. You might be, literally on some days, this happened to me, work out, do homework, and then go to bed. That might be your day sometimes. But you can't take either as a joke, because they are both equally important, because at the end of the day, maybe 1 in a million, that's a bit of exaggeration, but 1 in 10,000 at least, at the very highest, powerlifters can make a career out of solely powerlifting. Everyone else, they have to find some other career, whether it be a job or starting their own business, but you do need some kind of formal education, especially if you want to get a good job. That is just really vital. Starting your own business, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, you should just drop out of high school and just start your own business. I think that that's kind of a dumb way to look at it. I do think that, considering the fact that you're not even really paying for high school, unless it's a private school and you pay yourself, but chances are you're not, it's at the very least, an education you should try to receive. In college, whether or not you do that, it's a completely different story. But you just need to balance all your priorities in life, but you definitely still need to be serious about powerlifting. That is still going to be, a huge part. You can't let either one push the other out of the way. You have to find time for both, and you have to have that mentality of I want to get better in both. I want to maintain, my abilities in both. You have to just balance that. You can't expect to be able to, even on the weekends, you just go to parties and stuff like that all the time and not, just get your stuff in and then expect to still be good, because that's just not how it's going to be. So with all that being said, I know I kind of got off a little bit there, but major points is just be smart about the training. Make sure you balance everything wisely. Make sure you're getting enough nutrition. And also make sure you do get enough water, because cramping is a very serious issue. It's something I've experienced myself from being dehydrated, and now I have to drink a lot more water. I've realized that I have to incorporate that into my own diet. And just overall, I mean, just do what you can in every aspect of life, because they all are going to be important in their own way. And if powerlifting is important to you, then you should be willing to do the work for it, both inside the gym and out. Now, if you have any more specific questions, feel free to you can comment, or I would preferably, you could DM me on Instagram at JSPowerlifting. I do reply to every DM I get that is, not something really weird. So anyway, yeah, I'll definitely be willing to help you out. I'm in the same boat as a lot of you guys, and I know this video wasn't very specific to anything. I understand that. It was more just like a general kind of just lesson for you young powerlifters like myself who are aspiring for greatness, because when I speak of all the mistakes in this video that you should avoid, I've made every single one of them. I've let my grades slip. Because I wanted to lift and then just do whatever I wanted. I've let, my powerlifting slip because I just didn't feel like doing it, or whatever it was. I've made the mistakes. So that's why I speak so passionately about them, is because I've made so many mistakes in my powerlifting career. Well, not even career, but just my powerlifting journey. But with all that being said, I hope you enjoy the video. I really hope you get something from it. And I know I have not been posting much lifting footage just because I've been taking it kind of easy this week. I actually did start lifting this week. I know I said I was just not really going to, but the injury felt fully healed, and I decided I would try out the workouts, and if I felt any pain, just immediately stop. I did not, and therefore I do think that the injury is gone. There's no visible bruising or anything else whatsoever. So yeah, I haven't been able to find someone to record for me either, which is kind of a big deal. So obviously that is another issue, but next week for sure there'll be some more footage for you guys. And with that being said, thanks for watching. Peace.